A very good evening, everyone. We welcome everyone who has joined us in this meeting. We have with us CA Hitendra Gandhi. He is a practicing chartered accountant since 1980. He has done courses in public speaking, journalism, filmmaking, NLP, and 1 year residential course in comparative religions and world philosophy. Study of Indian scriptures and putting them in current perspectives is his passion. Hitendra Gandhi is associated with many edutainment programs in India and abroad. He talks on professional, cultural, and management related subjects, making interesting with film experts, appropriate games and activities, role plays, skits, and what if situations. With this brief introduction, I hand over. Let us give a virtual applause to welcome Hitendra Gandhi. And now I give the floor to Hitendra Gandhi to begin.
Govindji is there. I would like him to begin.
Yes, sir. Govindji, we could have a few words from you. I think you should unmute yourself. Bilal, can you unmute him? Yes. Sorry, sir, we just started.
Hitendra, you can start. No problem. The subject is such, the subject which she has chosen, survive, revive, and thrive. Everyone for last 10 months was trying to first survive. Once survive, then the question of revival arrives. And once we are revival is done, then the question is how to thrive, how to push upon ourselves. And these two Mahabharata and Ramayana, these are the sources of aspiration for all of us. And you are here, Hitendra. You being a regular member of this study circle, you know all our participants, you know all our members, and you know that how best we all can take directions, guidelines from these Mahabharata and Ramayana. The session is with you. I will not like to take much time. In fact, I am late. I am sorry that I joined late, but you please start. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chairman sir. Good evening, sir, and all the participants via Zoom. I'm so excited and thrilled to be back to my alma mater, I would say. I have learned a lot from BCA's and its luminaries' wisdom, and I would like to start my talk today. I will be talking on Mahabharata. I have been taking an initiative and running an initiative called Mahabharata 1821. That is 18 purpose of Mahabharata for this 21st century. And it goes in different 18 sessions, of which the one session that I have chosen for today's talk is Survive, Revive, Thrive, some resilience lessons from Mahabharata. बचो, जियो, जीतो और खिलो, यही बात हमें महाभारत कैसे सिखाती है, बताती है, उसके बारे में हम थोड़ा आज चिंतन मनन करेंगे। साथ में एक जर्नी करेंगे जिसमें मैं चाहूंगा कि मैं पहले थोड़ी महाभारत की बैकग्राउंड इंट्रोडक्शन दूं। Of course, BCA members are so well read, and not only well read, as our scripture says, they are बहुश्रुत, जिन्होंने बहुत कुछ सुना है। ऐसे elite और educated members के साथ हमने कई HR meetings attend है, शेयर करी है, तो मुझे विश्वास है कि महाभारत का बैकग्राउंड वो they will be immediately able to correlate. I'll be then narrating some episodes, stories, and events, or the sequence of events that happened in Mahabharata, which would reflect and decide or will demonstrate the process of survival, revival, and thriving of those people, those characters involved in it. And then after that, in the third part, I will talk about some resilience lessons that we can carry home in our current scenario. As the chairman rightly said that post-pandemic, pandemic and pre-pandemic, we all have this experienced very deeply and very intensely. So I will start with some introduction of Mahabharata, and then we'll go. Mahabharata, as we know, is a great epic, but our rishis have tried to summarize it in one sloka also, though it runs in 1 lakh slokes and more, but one श्लोक also is there for, जिसे एक श्लोकी महाभारत कहते हैं. आदौ पांडव धृतराष्ट्र जननम लाक्षागृहे दाहनम द्यूते श्रीहरणम वने विहरणम मत्स्यालये वर्धनम लीला गोग्रहणम रणे वितरणम क्रिया झृंभणम भीष्म द्रोण सुयोधनादि मथनम एतन् महाभारत. I will do the best avoid all rest of the Sanskrit slokas for our easy comprehension. But this is the story of Mahabharata, that Pandavas and Kauravas were born. Then there was a conspiracy of killing Pandavas in the house of Vex, Lakshagruha. Then there was an episode of game of dice where Kauravas schemed to snatch away the wealth of Pandavas, and then they were sent to the Vanvas forest and exile, and then 1 year also as Guptavas, and they did that Guptavas with Matsya Viratnagar. There they had an encounter with all Kauravas, where Kauravas tried to drive away all the Gograhanam, that is all the cows and other animals of Virat Raj. They used to, they tried to drive them, and there it was a battle between Kauravas and Pandavas, where Pandavas throw away all the Kauravas and they won. And after that, the Kurukshetra war was in offing, where Krishna tried to do some ambassador as ambassador of peace, and that Sandhi was the talks of negotiation of peace failed. And after that, what happened was Dharma Yuddha, Mahayuddha, where Bhishma, Drona, all Kauravas, including Karna and Suryodhana, were all extinct and killed. And this is the story of Mahabharata as it goes. The authorship and versions of the Mahabharata are very many. Originally, Vedavyasa dictated it, and Shri Ganesh, Lord Ganesh, Ganpati Bappa took the dictation, and that was called Jaya, because it narrated the story of Vijay, or the winning of Pandavas, and that was the version having only 8,800 slokas. And if you want to locate those original slokas, or by and large the rough location of those original 8,800 slokas, we can go to the Bhishma Parva to Sauptik Parva, where these are being actually put up. There are conditions that Ganesh ji put, that I will not stop in between. And then Vyasa came out with a brilliant idea of coming out with some footer slokas, that is very trickier slokas, putting a counter condition that you will not write unless you understand it. And that's how Mahabharata originally started with 800 slokas. Then grandson of Abhimanyu, that is Parikshit's son, King Janmejay, he had the second version heard from Rishi Vaishambhayan, who is the disciple of Vedavyas, and that was 24,000 slokas, which was named as Vijaya, or renamed after that Bharata, because it narrated the story of Bharata Vansha. And subsequent to that, Satasahasri Samhita, that is the Mahabharata what we receive and we see in current format, is given to us by sage Ugrashrava or Sutta Purani or Sauti, and that was narrated to Shaunaka and lot many other Brahmins and Rishis, and that is called the current Mahabharata. Mahabharata is also called Panchama Veda because we have four Vedas, as we know: Rig Veda, Yajur Veda, Samveda, and Atharva Veda, and we have Dhanur Veda, Sapatya Veda, Jangava Veda, and Yajur Veda, Ayurveda as Upavedas also. But Mahabharata is given the equal and same status of Vedas. Veda means knowledge, and the knowledge that Mahabharata expanded version or the latest version contains, though in a very simpler language, that's why it is called Panchama Veda. And another dimension for calling it Panchama Veda was that in those days, the Panchajana, that is the fifth jati, Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudras, over and above that, there was a Panchajan, where they were prevented or they were deprived of the rights of learning Vedas. Rather, they were absolved from the responsibility of studying Vedas because of their own social and economic conditions, as well as the other entanglements that they were supposed to be in their daily lives. So, not to keep them away from the basic thoughts of Vedas, this Panchama Veda Mahabharata was given by Rishi Vedavyas himself, who compiled all these Vedas also. They were not written by Vedavyas, but they were compiled. Sampadan उन्होंने किया था. Mahabharata is so vast and awesome that it is very well said that Yadi hasti talajnyatra yanne hasti nata kvachit. If it exists out there, you will find it here. And if you don't find it here, it should not be found anywhere else. It would not be found anywhere else. That is what the claim in Adi Parva is been made, and it is so rightly made that whatever is necessary for life and learnings of life, we all get it here very much in the Mahabharata, and that's why it is said that यदि हस्ति तदन्यत्र, जो यहाँ पे है वो और कहीं भी मिल जाएगा, अगर जो यहाँ नहीं है तो समझ लो वो कहीं नहीं है. That is how it goes. To you all in the right flavor and color of the Mahabharata, I would like you to take either a pen, pencil, or you may write your answers in chat box. That we usually in our childhood or our young school days used to play name, place, things, and animal. I would like you to write the name, place, things, and animal from Mahabharata for the whole alphabet A to Z, and I would insist that whatever is your name that starts with whatever alphabet, you would write at least one more name for that. And let us see how it goes. You can write either in your scribble pads or you can write in your chat box equally. chat box would be open. This is just to, give you the flavor of the Mahabharat and its vastness, and then okay, just for want of time, I would not insist everybody because we are not in physical mode. Neither we are, on a full length Mahabharata 1821 session. So, give you an idea as to how many characters, because we are talking about the vastness of Mahabharata. These are some of the books which I have in my collection, which gives only the index to the names available in Mahabharata. Who's who in Mahabharata, Mahabharata Kosh, and index to the names of Mahabharata, which runs into 854 pages. Or Mahabharata Kosh equally runs into 750 pages. So these many characters, name, place, and things are being enlisted or narrated into Mahabharata. This is what the Mahabharata's vastness is, and that's why it is rightly said that whatever is here, you will find it anywhere else, and whatever you don't get here, it would not be available anywhere else. This is how it goes. Something about the timing of the Mahabharata, there are a lot of debates, and we should not go into it, but generally there are two main schools which say that one is Dr. Manish Pandit, he is Manish Pandit, and he is Nilesh Oak, who have two different dates that on the basis of their 35-40 years research, they have come out with the aging of Mahabharat war as either 3067 BC, that is nearly 5050 years before, or as Dr. Vartak or Dr. Oak concerns, they say it is 5561 years BC, that is almost 7000 years before. He says 7000 years is Mahabharata, 14,000 years is Ramayana, and 22,000 years is our Rig Veda. That's how he says. Gita also is equally old as not many researches say, but somehow we are curious. We might be, asking ourselves, what are the methods that go into dating of the scripture? There are a lot of different methods, scientific, based on lot many other sciences. It's called paleography or letter formation or iconography, color of the ink, growth of the grammar or the language, punctuations, material on which it was written, that is whether it was printed, whether it was written on manuscript, on Bhojpatra. Radio or carbon dating is a very scientific method. There are another developed method of advanced carbon dating is mass spectrometry. Archaeology is one, obviously, that excavations and the findings of the relics that give us some indication about the time of the Mahabharata and other scriptures. Other documents found with the manuscript, that also is important. Some other literary work which mentions about Mahabharata, that also can give us a clue. Hydrography is another that talks about geology or the trends of the rivers, that what were the rivers flowing from where to where, from what direction it to turns, etc. And particularly Sindhu and Saraswati, Ganga and Yamuna, those were the rivers studied for this. Cosmology, astronomy, planetary positions, physical anthropology, genetics, oceanography, seismology, climatology, mentions of the seasons, and lot of other sciences are developed. But I think we should eat the cake rather than learning how to make a cake for the time being. And that's why हमें तो लड्डू खाने से मतलब है, लड्डू कैसे बना, हमारे पास लड्डू अगर थाली में परोसा गया है तो हम उसे खाने में और उसका जायजा लेने में ज्यादा मजा रखेंगे, वही सोच के हम आगे बढ़ते हैं. As I said, Mahabharata is a great epic, but if you want to compare it, it is 8 times bigger than the Iliad and Odyssey put together than Homer, I mean, what written by Homer, or Ramayana has 26,000 verses, whereas Mahabharata has more than 1 lakh shlokas. That shows its expanse. And if you want to say that it's the encyclopedia of Indian civilization, whatever it contains, rather I would say whatever it doesn't contain, it has Dharma Shastra, including Raj Dharma, Apat Dharma, Dana Dharma, Moksha Dharma, Shastra, Shastra, ethics, morality, spirituality, economics, politics, diplomacy, war and warfare, embryology and science of birth, teleportation, nuclear weapons, weapons of mass destruction, anti-radiation shields or alien bioshields, what Karna had, we say, teleportation or television, what Sanjay after Divadrashti had, everything, metallurgy, science, geology, geometry, what not, it contains everything in that 18 parvas, and we need to really learn lot much out of it. And generally, we as Indians many a times take a pseudo satisfaction when some Western countries, European or German, comes out with some researches. We would hold our collars and say, ये तो हमारे scriptures में पहले ही लिखा हुआ था. But have we really tried to go to them, learn them, and make it available in the current scientific language? That is the question. And now an atmosphere is really created that we can and we should do those studies at depth, in depth, so that 21st century questions and situations may be answered by all those, which is the encyclopedia of civilization. And that's why it is very rightly said that धर्म, अर्थ, काम और मोक्ष के बारे में जो भी कुछ कहना जानना जरूरी है वो सब यहाँ पे अवेलेबल है. That is what this Mahabharata encyclopedia has included in it. If we want to just have a statistical number of shlokas, how many shlokas each parva has, I think the Shanti Parva is the biggest one, and Swargarohan or Mahaprasthanic Parva are the smaller ones. There are 18 Parvas, 100 and more Sub-Parvas or Upa-Parva they call it. There are 1941 chapters, 84,879 verses. As well, there is an appendix called Harivamsha, which talks only about the story of Krishna, and that has 16,000 and odd slokas, which makes it to more than 1 lakh of shloka. And another versions have also come out with some near about a lakh of verses in different versions. But the Oriental Institute, Bhandarkar Oriental Institute has, after 50 years of research and collecting not less than 400 different versions of Mahabharata all over world and all over India, from different states. They have come out with the concise and authentic edition, what is called critical edition of Mahabharata, which says about these figures. Many times a debate arises as to whether Mahabharata is a history, story, Puran, mythology, or an epic poem. Epic poem is a poetry form. Mythology, even if we say it is very, a myth, really a myth, that mythology is all humbug and made up and cooked up stories. But the word mythos means truth, and that's how it goes as history. That itihas, ahas. This was that. This is how it happened. That's called itihas, and it's not a story or a fictional story, because it's now proved beyond doubt that lot of characters, places, and other things existed, and they till today exist in our country, where we can find that our itihas is Ramayana and Mahabharata. That is a nice Taoist symbol which always talks of yin and yang. That is the white and the black. Always it is the circular motion. In our culture, we have Kala Chakra. जब महाभारत PR चोपड़ा का सीरीज आती थी, तब मैं काल बोल रहा हूँ करके जो काल चक्र घूमता था, वही काल चक्र यही बात बताता है. It represents the balance of opposites in the universe. The yin and yang, that is the eternal and continuous fight between feminist and masculine, chaos and cosmos, negatives and positives, good versus evil, niyati or aniyati, pravrutti versus nivrutti, challenges or opportunities, struggles and successes. This always sometimes overpower the other one, and it always has this either white more or sometimes the black more, and that's why we can say that Mahabharata is not only 50 shades of grey, but it has thousands of shades, and that is a mega narrative of the shades of grey, because even Kauravas who are depicted to be evil have some good qualities, and Pandavas who are epitome of virtues also have some lapses and negatives. That's how this works. So now coming to the second portion of my talk, that is, I will now be talking about some episodes and stories that the characters in Mahabharata had to undergo for our today's topic, so to say, that is survival, revival, and how to thrive. And the first story I would like to put is Pandava story. We all know that after Pandu's death, Kunti and Pandava prince came back to Hastinapur, and they, to please Dhritarashtra, did a great Vijay Yatra, and that Vijay Yatra, what they did, gave them so much of popularity that Duryodhana was very upset with it, because then Yudhishthir will be the Yuvraj or the prince in coronation offing, but then that was not digested by him, and that's why he, with his Chandal Chokri, as we call it, the scheming quadro or Shakuni, Dushasan, Karna, and Duryodhan, they came out with a scheme of Lakshagruha. They created a house of wax or lacquer, which was so inflammable in no time, and they, under the pretext of sending them for relaxation and Tirtha Yatra, they sent them to Varnavat, where this Laksha Guru was built. And as the story was true, the Laksha Guru once was put on fire, and they had the problem of survival because the wax or the lacquer would be so inflammable that immediately it will catch fire. And that was the time when they had the survival episode in Laksha Guru. Somehow they managed to come out of it. How did they come out, and what they did will be the lessons that we will learn. Subsequent to that, the revival was that after escaping from the Laksha Guru fire, they went to Draupadi Swayamvar, and Arjuna got married to Draupadi, and then, as we know, Draupadi became wife to all the five Pandavas, and subsequently they built their own capital as Indraprastha. They came back to Hastinapur, and Hastinapur was divided into two. Hastinapur went to Duryodhan or Kauravas, and Pandavas were given Khandava forest, or where they created this Indraprastha. And after the building of Indraprastha with the help of Maya Danav, they came out so thrivingly and totally resilient in the Rajsuya Yagna. Rajsuya Yagna is one where you prove your supremacy over all the rest of the Samrajyas or the kingdoms. That is how this Pandava story of House of Wax, Draupadi Swayamvar and Indraprastha being built, and Rajsuya Yagna happened. As we all know the story of Mahabharata basic, I am not going into the necessities and details of it, but to give the point or drive a point of our survival, revival, and thriving, I'm just indicating those episodes and events where this sequence happened in the same fashion. Same way, the second story of Pandavas for survival, revival happened in the game of dice, that is in Jyut Sabha, where disrobing of Draupadi happened at the instance of Duryodhan, Dushasan, and Sakuni tried to take their total wealth, what they earned in Indraprastha and Ratsu Yagna. That is how it again came to be a pitfall or a great setback in the game of dice, that is nicely being depicted in Sabha Parva, where Draupadi was being tried to, what we call it as Chirharan or Vastraharan. उसके बाद उनको 12 साल का वनवास हुआ और 13th year में उन्हें गुप्तवास में भी रहना पड़ा. The 13th year of exile was in camouflage type of things, and in that whatever they did will be our lessons that we'll be talking about, and to come out of it as revival and to claim their own what is rightfully due to them, they had to go for the Dharma Yuddha or Kurukshetra Yuddha, and subsequent to that Yudhishthir's kingdom was established, and he did again the Ashwamedh Yagna for that. That is another survive, revive and thrive story from Pandava's life. Same way Krishna also had survive, revive and thrive episodes in his life equally. When he was at Gokul, Gokul was flooded with heavy rains at the wrath of Indra and Varuna, and after that Govardhan Dharan, Krishna came out victorious over Indra, and what he could establish as a thriving moment was that he brought out the ritualistic reform that Indra Puja or worship of Indra was discontinued, and he started Govardhan Puja, that is the worship of the mountain which nourished their cows. That was a great social reform, and after the 7 days of that crisis, he came out shiningly, and they celebrated it with in our Vaishnav tradition we call it as Chappan Bhog. Those Chappan Bhog is, I mean, a party after the crisis. That's how Krishna story goes. Same way, another Krishna story is obviously his birth story, where he was born in a jail. कारावास में उनका जन्म हुआ, फिर then they had to change the place. उनकी मदर भी चेंज करनी पड़ी, यहाँ तक कि उसने कंसवध किया और बाद में मथुरा में राज्य शासन उग्रसेन को दिया. फिर भी Jarasan, being the son-in-law of Krishna, Kansa, was not happy, and he continued attacking Mathura for 17 times. And when he was about to attack 18th time, there was a meeting of the diplomats, because Mathura was not a kingdom run by a king, but it was a Ganarajya. That was the first democracy, I would say, in our history. So America or India claiming to be the first or the largest democracy, but Krishna's Ganatantra, Ganarajya, was, I think, the oldest democracy that we have. And after those diplomats meeting to survive and revive, he had to run away from Mathura, and the whole Mathura was in the exodus mode, and they went to the Saurashtra, Anartha, or after that they created another city called Dwarika or Dwarka. So Dwarika Nirman was the survival, revival, and thriving side of Krishna's Mathura and Gokul episode, which ended in Dwarika. So Gokul, Mathura, and Dwarika, I would say, are the three survive, revive, and thrive moments in Krishna's life. What lessons? Again, we will just differ for a moment. In the same way, Karna's life, in practically every character's life, these ups and downs always happen. That at the very birth, Kunti, being the virgin mother, had to abandon him. So Karna was abandoned by Kunti at the very birth. Not only that, he was picked up by Radha, and it was Sutaputra, that was a lowly birth, that was called. When he again appeared after education, equally competent enough with Arjuna and other Kaurava Pandavas, but he was insulted at the princely games, and he was denied the entry or even the friendly demonstration of his excellence. That was the moment when in the revival mode, Duryodhana's friendship was given to him. He was made the king of Angadesh, and subsequently, as we know, for thriving in his life, he fought Arjuna as equal to the Arjuna, and many times we have that story that he was even more competent than Arjuna, and somehow Arjuna was made to win by whatever strategies and trickeries of Krishna and other Dharma Yuddha or Kurukshetra stories. So in Karna's life also we have this survive, revive, and thrive episodes. Same way, survive, revive, and thrive, if we see in our context, it is rebooting our computer or rebooting our system. And everybody knows that rebooting comes and happens when we press Alt, Control, and Delete keys simultaneously. So I would say Alt, Control and Delete is finding alternatives, being in control and deleting the negatives. That's how this rebooting can happen. And what we also have in our COVID and post-COVID scenario, we all have gone through this and have witnessed all this, that how to find alternatives, how to be in control of the whatever situations come to us, and how to eliminate the negatives or keep them away. That was the lessons, and for this Mahabharata lessons that we have for finding alternatives, being in control and deleting negatives. I will now be narrating some Mahabharata lessons from our great epic that gives us the message of coming out of the situation, fighting it back and bouncing back to thriving position. Some of the lessons are survive, revive and thrive. The first lesson I would say would be a prosperity thinker. Being a prosperity thinker and not a poverty thinker is the great lesson that our Mahabharata teaches us. We don't have to lose hope. We know that for many number of years, Pandavas were pushed to Vanvas and forest, but they have never lost hope. In all the adversities, in everything that they faced, and not only Kaurava, I mean Pandavas, but also same way Karna or Krishna. The stories that I narrated for the setback, same setback has given us the result of Indraprastha Nirman and Dwarika Nirman. So these are the two great cities being built out of setbacks. This is the story of success. This is the story of bouncing back. So you have to be a prosperity thinker. You have to make best of the situation that comes to you. That is how these people work. And another example of being a prosperity thinker is first chapter of Gita, where Arjuna says, how would I kill my own relations? He is not afraid. He is not even thinking of losing. He says, how would I kill them? So he is obvious and so sure and confident that he is going to kill them. But because of some other excuses and reasons, he says, I don't want to kill them. But he is sure of winning. So this is how the positive prosperity thinkers mindset shows in Mahabharata and Bhagavad Gita, which Robin Sharma, very nicely has coined a new word in this pandemic. Whatever lessons I learned from Robin Sharma's podcast and his different workshops, that you have to be a possibilitarian or a hopefulist or a radical enthusiast. These are the words which I liked most, and that's why I would like to share with you, which are, nothing but the echoing of the same words of being prosperity thinker or not losing hope and continue to hang on till the last moment. That's what Mahabharata teaches us. And that's what Maharishi Vedvyas also has taught us by Mahabharata, that all human beings, even if he is God incarnate in the human form, he will have to face ups and downs. There will always be ups and downs in the waves. Only thing that you have to learn the art of changing your sail, and you have to navigate your ship out of those storms. Because whoever you are, you will have the ups and downs, because there is no place where ups and downs are not available or not there. If you want to really think of some ups and downs which are not there, I think we would have to go to Smasana or crematorium. There only there are no ups and downs. In a graveyard, there is totally peace. Otherwise, there would always be some differences. So whatever happens is always up and down. And if it goes in the straight line, I would say with this graphic that if your cardiogram shows a straight line, it's a danger sign that you are no more alive. So, or if I use another metaphor, if everything goes in straight line for say sun, moon and earth, then the eclipse would occur. So if we don't want to face Grahan or we don't want to be a dead person, we have to accept that ups and downs are part of the life, and may they be shorter, may they be longer, may they be more intense, may they be, unprecedented, like the COVID or the Corona situation that we faced in 2019 and 20. But somehow those are the events that teach us to be a prosperity thinker and come out with the shining stars. Another lesson that we have to learn from Mahabharat's survival, revival, and thriving, I would, for brevity's sake, always call it SRT. So our SRT episodes from Mahabharata taught us that in case of the house of wax put on fire, it taught us to understand and pick up and decode the messages coming to you. When they were leaving for Varnavat, Vidur, this is in Adi Parva chapter 114, that Vidur gave them, particularly Yudhishthir, a coded language message. It was a message in Mleccha language or Yavani Bhasha. में उन्होंने एक मैसेज दे दिया, which is a bit long, but the shorter version, if I put, that he told Yudhishthir very closely that be aware of the metal-less weapon. And after decoding that all, Yudhishthir could make out that metal-less weapon can be fire. Rats and porcupines keeping in the bill remain safe in the forest fire. So he talked about forest fire and gave the example of rats and porcupines being in their bill. So that means you have to go for a tunnel or something like that, and don't be blind to the nature. Take use of the planets and nature. Have patience and control for the success. This was how Pandavas prepared themselves and decoded the message when it came to them that once in when they were in Varnavat house of wax, 6 people, 5 men and 1 lady somehow came there for dinner. They were drunk, and after that they were buried in that fire. So making best use of that situation, they again went into hiding and let the rumor spread that Pandavas and their mother Kunti is dead in the Varnavat fire or Lakshagru fire. That's how it converted their message into making best use the available situations. Same way in Kurukshetra wars, lot of happenings were such that the moment that comes and arises, you have to play tactful and you have to be more strategic, and you have to find out a way out of this immediate crisis on hand. Even once this Arjuna, when in heaven in Indralok, Urvashi gave her a curse that he would be a eunuch, वो 1 साल हिजड़ा हो जाएगा, और वही चीज को उन्होंने अपनी फेवर में विराट नगर में जब गुप्तवास था तब उसको कैसे बेस्ट यूज किया, और गृहण्डला के रूप में एज अ डांस टीचर टू द सन एंड डॉटर ऑफ किंग ऑफ विराट, मत्स्य देश के राजा की लड़की और लड़की उत्तर और उत्तरा को कैसे उन्होंने डांस सिखाने में वो अपना कर्ज को अपॉर्चुनिटी में कन्वर्ट किया। वैसे बहुत कुछ हमें सीखना है Mahabharat से कि make use of the situations that come to you and keep your eyes, ears and brain open for the messages that nature wants to give you very subtly or loudly. And the same way, in the COVID situation, we have started learning so many things about family life, about environment, that nature is giving us the signals, and we have to come out brilliantly, and we have to revive and thrive out of the situation that has come to us. Third lesson that we have to learn from the episodes of SRT is there would be no luck, no chance, no proxy. You will have to put your untiring efforts, and there will be no choice but to do your own efforts and ultimate efforts that you will have to put. And that's the metaphorically very rightly put in Kurukshetra war, that Arjun has to fight his own battle. You have to bear your own cross, and nobody else can proxy you. Because Krishna also says that I will be Nyasta Shastra and Ayudhyaman. मैं हथियार धारण नहीं करूंगा और युद्ध नहीं करूंगा. मतलब Krishna can guide, but Arjuna only has to fight the battle. This is how it works. And even if we look to the last Swargarohan Parva, at the end of the journey of life, everybody is alone. Nobody can help you out in your final journey. Only your karmas go with you. That is karmano go gacchati jiva eka. That's how you have to learn that putting untiring efforts and the best of the best efforts yourself, whether you do it hard work, whether you do it smart work, that is all, I mean, refinements to it, but you will have to work. You will not be given a magic wand that will come out, bring you out of the survival crisis. You will have to work your own way. So that is the, whether you want to change or whether you want to chance, it is Mahabharat's teaching that you will have to accept and embrace change. You cannot have chance. That is how Mahabharata talks about untiring efforts. The next lesson is in SRT episodes from Mahabharata. Will be learning of distressing yourself, getting slow and getting mentored. Vanvas means being slow, being introvert. It is disconnecting from the routine and connecting to the nature. The COVID-19 situation, work from home, is also a vanvas, or I would call it a garvas. गृहवास में हमें कोविड ने जो सिखाया है, यही सीख दी है उन्होंने कि यू हैव टू बी स्लो. हमारी भागा दौड़ी की जिंदगी से हमें थोड़ा हट के विटनेस करना है, अपने आप को स्लो डाउन करना है, और यही सीखना है कि हाउ कैन वी गो इंट्रोवर्ट. हमारी बाहर की जर्नी को बनाए रखते हुए हम कैसे आत्मनिरीक्षण करें, आत्म संयमन करें, आत्मनियमन करें, उसकी बातें हमें सीखनी है. और उसके साथ हमें फैमिली लाइफ से कैसे जुड़ना है, डिस्ट्रेस कैसे होना है, ये सब बातें हमें कोविड-19 ने यानी कि वनवास ने सिखाई है. In other words, I would say that you don't have to look to the mirrors, but you have to dive deep for digging out the diamonds. हम लोग सोशल मीडिया कन्फर्मेशंस में इतना मिरर्स और आई वुड से सेल्फ लविंग पीपल हो जाते हैं, नार्सिसिस्ट हो जाते हैं कि मुझे कितनी लाइक्स मिली, मुझे कितने फॉलोअर्स मिले, मुझे कितने हिट्स मिली, उसी में हमारी स्ट्रगल खत्म हो जाती है. बट इंस्टेड ऑफ कांच के टुकड़ों की जगह हमें डिग करना है कि हम अंतर खोज करके कैसे हीरे जवाहरात निकाल पाए. Same way, the concept of IQ is no more popular, and we all have many times heard about emotional quotients or spiritual quotients. So the audience very much aware about these concepts. Another thing, great thing that Mahabharata has taught us in these SRT situations was continuing to have satsang, that is getting mentored. There are hundreds of rishis being named, and you would not believe that there are in one Parva, chapter 80 to 156. They are the list of Tirtha Yatras that Pandavas took when they were in forest. वो वनवास में थे तब उन्होंने तीर्थ यात्रा पिलग्रिमेज या तो सत्संग इतने किए, इतना उन्होंने ज्ञान संपादन किया कि तीर्थ यात्रा में मुझे लगता है कि मैंने जो मेरा महाभारत का अभ्यास थोड़ा सा किया है, उससे मुझे लगता है कि तीर्थ यात्रा हमें 4 चीज सिखाती है. One is निसर्ग सामीप्य, going nearer to the nature. Another is getting your mental peace, manashanti. Third is papanash, burning your sins. And fourth is dana. Whenever we talk of tirtha yatra, it talks of dana. That is danam samvibhaga. Distribution, equality, equally distributing your resources. That is dana. This is the tirtha yatra, or the rishis or the mentors have taught us in distressing ourselves, being slow, being introvert from SRT lessons in Mahabharata. Another lesson of Mahabharata episodes have taught us is sharpening your saw. As 7 habits, Stephen Covey would have put it in his important 7 habits, that you sharpen your saw. If you have to cut a tree in 7 days time, use 6 days time to sharpen your saw, and the 7th day will be the cutting of tree will be so easy. So acquiring weapons and wisdom both, that is Shastra Sampadan and Shastra Sampadan. These both are being taught by our SRT episodes in Mahabharata, and that's what it teaches us to do different things, to do things differently, both. If we just take a look at what all Pandavas did when they were in Vanvas, we would be surely getting the idea that they were not sitting idle. Arjuna was keeping busy, getting all the weapons from Indra, Agni, Kuber. He went for penance, and Indrakil mountain पे जाके उन्होंने even Lord Shankar से पाशुपतास्त्र, ब्रह्मशीर सब हथियार इकट्ठा किए हैं, because they knew that Kauravas will not be giving their part of the Indraprastha, their kingdom back after the exile is over. So Yudhishthir also did Suryopasana and gathered Akshay Patra. Damya Rishi se unhone niti sikhi. Bhim also went whenever in forest, he fought with Bakasur, Jatasur, Hidimba, and he was sharpening his art of warring. That's what she did. Even Draupadi, when was in Vanavas, she acquired boons from Durvasa, and she learned of Grihastha Dharma from Satyabhama, the Patrani of Krishna, when she came to meet her in forest. So these are all the stories of Aranya Parva, that you don't have to have picnicking. वो वन भोजन के लिए नहीं गए हैं, वहां पे रिसोर्ट में रहने के लिए नहीं गए हैं, वहां उन्होंने शस्त्र और शास्त्र किया संपादन किया है, अर्जन किया है, और वो उसके लिए जो भी करना पड़ा वो तप किया, फाइटिंग करी, जो भी करना पड़ा वो उन्होंने करके ये सब हासिल किया है. So sharpening your saw is the SRT lesson. One more from Mahabharata. Another great lesson that we learn from Krishna's life is shedding your ego away, Krishna became Ranchod Rai. He preferred a planned retreat when 18th time the Jarasandha was trying to invade and have attack on Mathura, and this is how Krishna became Ranchod Rai, जिन्हें हम भगोड़ा कहते हैं. ऐसे वो लिटरली उन्होंने ऑनरेबल रिट्रीट करी, मथुरा छोड़ के पलायन कर गए, भाग गए, लेकिन उस पलायन में उन्होंने अपना ईगो साइड पर रख दिया. Not many Yadav warriors were also on his side, and they said that if we can avoid 17 times, 18 times is nothing great. But Krishna said no. For the larger interest of the Mathura and the civilians of Mathura, and for peace of Mathura and steady agricultural and local progress, I will leave Mathura. I will not bring in my ego in between. And that's how we call Krishna is Ranchod Rai. He रण छोड़ के वो भागे थे. कई बार हम लोग हमारी पेरेंटिंग में, हमारी टीचिंग में, being a teacher, being a parent, father or mother, हम लोग in the guise of caring, कई बार हम दूसरे के ऊपर कंट्रोल करने की चाह कर लेते हैं. So that's what we have to learn, that under the guise of care and concern, we are not overpowering somebody else's personality and we are not controlling them unnecessarily. That's what we have to learn. Another great lesson is that you have to accept the ground level realities, and that brings, that comes only after you have your ego set aside. This Japanese doll, or in Buddhist philosophy, they call it Dharma doll. This Dharma doll is one which, whatever you tumble it, it will again bounce back to its original position, because it has the foundation very heavy. It has grounded on earth. जब आपके पांव जमीन पर होंगे तभी आप उड़ पाओगे. This may seem a contrary thing, or dialect, a bit contradictory, but that is how the real situation works, that you have to be grounded to have your resilience. And another great thing of shedding ego is this Vanvas or Guptavas that we have narrated in our SRT episodes, that teaches us the great humility. For example, Yudhishthir, when was playing the game of dice, युद्ध सभा में उन्होंने नकुल को सबसे पहले दांव पर लगाया था कि मैं अभी नकुल को दांव पे लगाता हूँ. और जब यक्ष प्रश्न, जब वनवास में थे और यक्ष ने वो सब पानी पीने गए और सब मर गए और बाकी चारों ब्रदर्स मर गए, और युधिष्ठिर ने यक्ष के सभी प्रश्नों का जवाब देके उन्होंने उनसे आशीर्वाद पाया कि who do you want one brother of yours to be born again or brought to life again? And he says, I want Madri Putra Nakul, because I, being Kunti Putra, already am having my life with me. So माद्री का, मेरी दूसरी माँ का एक बच्चा जीवित रहना चाहिए, इसलिए उन्होंने नकुल को पुनर्जीवन करने के लिए मांगा था. इसी तरह ह्यूमिलिटी, जो एक सोबेरिटी कैसे सिखाती है वनवास, वो हमें एक भीम के उदाहरण पर से भी मिलता है कि भीम had an encounter with old Hanuman, old monkey, and he wanted to pass crossing his legs because he was lying just across the road, blocking his passage. And out of his ego, Bhima tried to pass him away. हनुमान जी ने कहा कि मैं तो बूढ़ा हो चुका हूँ, मैं अपने आप हिल नहीं सकता, आप मेरी दूम है, मेरी पूंछ है, वो मेरी पूंछ को साइड पे रख दीजिए। एंड एज वी नो ऑल द स्टोरी दैट भीम उन पूंछ को उठा तो बाजू पर हिला भी नहीं पाया। And that's how this Vanvas taught them the humility of being grounded. जमीनी हकीकतों का वास्तव स्वीकार करने की जो तैयारी हमने महाभारत से सीखी, वो बहुत ही आला और वही काम आने वाली चीज है जो हमें कोविड-19 से भी सीखने मिली है। So I think I'm sure you will all be drawing parallels from Mahabharat SRT to our last 10 months, 15 months learnings from Corona, lockdown, unlock, whatever we have. So instead of having inflated ego, we have to keep the ego aside. That's how we are taught to. So it's rightly said that a bad day for ego is a great day for the soul. आपकी आंतरिक शुद्धि के लिए ईगो को बाजू पे रखना बहुत ही जरूरी होता है। Another great quality that we learned from SRT episodes is having empathy. See, sympathy is different and empathy is different. Sympathy is sahanubhuti. We experience the same samvedana. So it's not sahanubhuti, but it is some samvedana. हम दूसरा जो मुसीबत से, जो इमोशन से गुजर रहा है, उसी को शेयर करें, उसी को फील करें। हमारी संवेदना अगर वो सिंपैथी से बहुत ही डीप और गहरी है, जो मुझे लगता है कि कर्ण और दुर्योधन में यह एम्पैथी थी। कृष्ण और द्रौपदी के संबंध में यह एम्पैथी हमें दिखाई देती है कि जो डिसरिगार्ड ऑफ देयर प्लस और माइनस, आई एम योर्स एंड यू आर माइन, आप मेरे हो और मैं आपका हूं। कृष्ण तवास्मी, ये जो भाव आता है हमारा कि हे भगवान, मैं आपकी शरण में हूं, मैं आपका हूं और आप मेरे हैं। फिर आप मेरे सखा है, पिता है, माता है, मालिक है, वो हमारे उनके रिलेशंस अलग से होते हैं। बट व्हेन वी शेयर द सेम इमोशंस, हमारी सफरिंग्स की इमोशंस हम अगर सेम इंटेंसिटी से शेयर करते हैं तो उसे एम्पैथी कहते हैं। और वो एम्पैथी हमें सिंपैथी से ऊपर, सिंपैथी से गहरी महाभारत सिखाती है। अनदर लेसन इज पेशेंस, वेटिंग फॉर द ऑपर्चून टाइम बट नॉट लूजिंग योर फोकस। 12-12 साल, 15-15 साल, 24-24 साल, 2-2, 3-3 बार वन में रहना पड़ा है, वन में भटकना पड़ा है पांडवों को, लेकिन उन्होंने अपना फोकस नहीं गवाया, उन्होंने अपनी धीरज नहीं गवाई। हम इम्पेशेंट हो जाते थे कि हमें फास्ट फूड नहीं मिल रहा है, हमें बाहर जाने को नहीं मिल रहा है, लेकिन बाहर गए या ना गए, अब की जो परिस्थिति में व्हाट इज बेस्ट फॉर अस, वो अगर हमने माना, तब जाके हम इस कोविड की सिचुएशन को पार कर सके हैं। सो वेटिंग फॉर द ऑपर्चून टाइम, जब कौरव युद्ध सभा में जीत गए, तब पांडव वन में जा रहे थे, तभी कई लोगों ने उनको सलाह दी कि आज का आज कौरवों के साथ युद्ध कर लेते हैं, उनको हरा पाएंगे और उनको हराने के बाद हम हस्तिनापुर और इंद्र दोनों का राज्य ले लेंगे। लेकिन एक्सेप्टिंग द ग्राउंड रियलिटीज, एवरीबॉडी न्यू, युधिष्ठिर को मालूम था कि हम आज की तारीख में कौरवों को हरा नहीं सकते। हमारे पास न शस्त्र है न साथी है। शस्त्र और साथी के बिना युद्ध करेंगे तो हमारी हाराकिरी हो जाएगी, हमारा वाटरलू हो जाएगा। ये पांडवों को और युधिष्ठिर को, धर्मराज को मालूम था कि हमें ऑपर्चून टाइम के लिए वेट करना है। वी हैव टू शार्पन आवर सॉ, वी हैव टू शास्त्र संपादन करके बाद में महायुद्ध के लिए तैयार होना है। और इसीलिए हम कह सकते हैं कि व्हाट इज इम्पोर्टेंट इज नॉट द इंटेंसिटी बट द कंसिस्टेंसी। अगर हम कसरत करने की एक ठान लेते हैं तो एक दिन में 10 घंटा कसरत करने से काम नहीं बनता। हमें कंसिस्टेंटली हर रोज सालों साल 1 घंटा कसरत करनी पड़ती है। आज एकदम मंडी पड़े એવું ન છે। This is not happening with just your intensity। अगर हम सादा सा उदाहरण ले समझो टूथब्रश करने का, हम हमारे दांत को साफ करना चाहते हैं, सफेद बनाना चाहते हैं, तो दिन में 8 घंटा ब्रश नहीं कर सकते। हमें सालों साल दिन में 2 बार 2-2 मिनट का ब्रश करना पड़ता है। सो कंसिस्टेंसी इज इम्पोर्टेंट एंड नॉट ओनली द इंटेंसिटी। ये बात हमें वनवास ने सिखाई है कि धीरज कैसे रखनी, और फिर भी हमारा फोकस, हमारा गोल ओरिएंटेशन हमें मिस नहीं करना है। यही बात हम बैम्बू से भी सीख सकते हैं कि स्टेबिलिटी तभी आती है जब हमारे पास फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी हो, और फ्लेक्सिबिलिटी और स्टेबिलिटी ये दोनों चीज हमें साथ में मिलनी चाहिए, तभी जाके हम इंटेंस फाइट बैक दे सकते हैं। Another lesson that I have found is not compromising on your eternal values। कई विपदाएं आई है, कई बाधाएं आई है, फिर भी पांडवों ने अपना धैर्य, अपना चारित्र्य, अपनी इंटेग्रिटी कभी नहीं गंवाई है। अप्सरा के साथ, उर्वशी के साथ उसको अर्जुन का जो एपिसोड है, अप्सरा Urvashi wanted Arjun to have sex with him, but Arjuna said that you are in heaven in Indra Sabha and Indra is my father, so you are a motherly figure to me, और मैं माँ के साथ ये कभी नहीं कर सकता। ये चारित्र्य जो संभालना है वो अर्जुन ने वनवास में भी देखा है, सीखा है और बरकरार रखा है। उसी तरह जब बाहर का कोई गंधर्व आके दुर्योधन को मारता है, और दुर्योधन उनको सताने के लिए आया था वन में, वो घोष यात्रा करने के अपनी बड़ाई और होशियारी दिखाने आया था, फिर भी उन्होंने ये अपना कैरेक्टर नहीं गंवाया है और गंधर्व के साथ फाइट करके दुर्योधन को बचाया है। क्योंकि बाहर वाले के साथ हम 105 भाई है, हम 5 भाई नहीं है। ये बात, ये जो कैरेक्टर है, जो इंटेग्रल चीज है हमारी, जो पर्सनालिटी से कहीं ज्यादा, कहीं ऊपर और कहीं बड़ी है, वो चीज धर्मराज अपने हर एक चारित्र्य में, अपने बिहेवियर में दिखा देते हैं। वहां तक कि उन्हें सदैव स्वर्ग में जाने को मिलता है, फिर भी वो मना करते हुए कहते हैं कि जिस कुत्ते ने मेरा साथ यहाँ तक, हिमालय तक, स्वर्ग तक दिया है, उनको छोड़ के मैं अकेला स्वर्ग में नहीं आऊंगा। ये जो हमारा कल्चर और कैरेक्टर मेंटेन करने की बात है, ये हमें शायद हमारा SRT मैनेजमेंट सिखाता है। Another great learning is maintaining your relations and creating new networking। हम लोगों ने घर पे बैठ के जूम मीटिंग्स करके, ऑल्टरनेटिव्स फाइंड करके, ये जो ऑल्ट कंट्रोल डिलीट है ना, ये ऑल्ट वाली जो बात है, फाइंडिंग ऑल्टरनेटिव्स, नए नए नेटवर्क खड़े करने। आपको जानकर आश्चर्य होगा, हमारे यहाँ पे 380 करीबन ट्राइब्स थी जिन्होंने महाभारत के धर्म युद्ध में भाग लिया था। ये सभी ट्राइब्स ऑल ओवर अफगानिस्तान तक और नीचे कन्याकुमारी तक फैली हुई थी। हमारे इंडिया का महाभारत कालीन नक्शा देखें तो हमें आश्चर्य लगेगा कि इतना एक्सपांस हम लोगों ने उस टाइम पे तय किया था, रिसोर्सेस और सैनिक जुटाने में। इसी तरह हमारी जो ये रिलेशंस मेंटेन करने की, एलाइज और कोलैबोरेटर्स तैयार करने की, पहली बार जब वन में गए तो उन्होंने द्रुपद जैसा स्ट्रॉन्ग समधी पाया। तीसरी बार जब गए तो उन्होंने विराट जैसा राजा के वहां पे रह के, गुप्तवास में रह के, उन्होंने अच्छे से अच्छा कोलैबोरेटर और एलाई पाया। इस तरह से हमारा यही एक लेसन है कि कैसे हम नए रिलेशंस बनाए। और इसीलिए आज की भाषा में कई लोग कहते हैं कि नेवर ईट अलोन, आप खाना खाने हमेशा किसी के साथ बैठो। What is within you or what is between us is not important, but what is beyond us is also equally important. और सेम वे हमारी टीम से फीडबैक लेने की बात जो है, जो कृष्ण ने मथुरा छोड़ने के समय और द्वारिका भागने के समय ली थी, कि अपनी टीम का भी जो फीडबैक होता है, वो फीडबैक बहुत मायने रखता है। नाम स्पष्ट शब्दों में कहा कि कृष्ण आपको वैयक्तिक रूप से द्वेष करने के कारण जरासंध युद्ध करने बार बार तत्पर होता है और उससे सामान्य जनजीवन डिस्टर्ब हो जाता है, तो बेहतर है कि आप चले जाओ। और ये टीम का फीडबैक विकद्रु नाम के कृष्ण के एक सहयोगी गणराज्य के डिप्लोमेट का उन्होंने अपना टीम का फीडबैक मानकर आखिरी मथुरा छोड़ने का निर्णय किया था। सो हम जब क्राइसिस में होते हैं तो हमारी फैमिली का, हमारी टीम का जो हमें फीडबैक मिलता है उसे हम नेगेट या निग्लेक्ट नहीं कर सकते। और लास्ट लेसन दैट आई वुड से दैट SRT फ्रॉम महाभारत टीचेस अस इज इमोशंस मैनेजमेंट। महाभारत में एंगर भी है, रिवेंज भी है, धर्म भी है, लव और लस्ट भी है, प्राइड है, इनजस्टिस है, सेक्रीफाइस है, बहुत कुछ उसमें अलग अलग तरीके की हमारी वैलर और करेज भी है, युद्ध नीति और अनीति भी है। उस टाइम पे हमारी वैयक्तिक धारणाएं और समष्टि के लिए क्या यूज में हित में है, वो बात सिखाने की है। महाभारत की ये जो इमोशंस और क्रिटिकल और कॉन्फ्लिक्टिंग इमोशंस है, उसको एक ही बात हमें सिखाती है कि हमें धर्म युद्ध यानी दो धर्मों के बीच युद्ध है। अधर्म और धर्म के बीच युद्ध नहीं है, दो धर्मों के बीच युद्ध है। हमारे ही आंतरिक इमोशंस का अगर ये युद्ध है तो हम कैसे जीत पाएंगे, हमारी इमोशंस के ऊपर कैसे कंट्रोल कर पाएंगे, वो हमें महाभारत सिखाता है। एंड of course, the great lesson is to share your success after the COVID is over, after the vaccination is over, after all your survival and revival and thriving is happening. We have to celebrate that. That is another lesson. So, अगर मैं ये कहूँ कि सर्वाइव, रिवाइव और थ्राइव में अगर उसका स्टेज क्या है, उसका लक्षण यानी कि कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या है और वो किस पर्व के नाम से जाना जाए, तो मैं कहूंगा कि सर्वाइवल का प्रतिकार स्टेज है, उसका लक्षण प्रार्थना है और वो एक संघर्ष का पर्व है। रिवाइवल का जो स्टेज है उसमें आप पूर्व तैयारी करते हैं, पुरुषार्थ का वो लक्षण है और आपका अर्जन पर्व आपका पाने का पर्व है। और आपका जो थ्राइविंग है वो परिवर्तन का स्टेज है, पराक्रम उसका लक्षण है और सर्जन नया क्रिएशन करने का वो आपका पर्व है। इस लेसन्स के साथ मैं समराइज इसी तरह करूंगा कि we have to learn to live with COVID, that is connecting dots, keeping optimism, adding value, getting innovative and keeping dynamism and accepting the change management. That's how it would work. There are a lot of confirming news that I collected during this lockdown, that how to build resilience, how the pandemic is a classroom. Anand Mahendra Mazumdar show कई बड़े बड़े NGOs और कॉर्पोरेट हाउसेस के CEOs, हमारे कई सेलिब्रिटीज यही बात करते रहे हैं। श्री अनु सेठ इज से डायरेक्टर IIM, he is a Panasonic India के साउथ इंडिया के, he is a CMD of Nestle India. How to build resilience during the trying times, यही हमें कोविड ने और महाभारत ने सिखाया है और यही चीज मैं एक छोटी सी 2 मिनट की वीडियो के बाद मेरा बोलना समाप्त करूंगा। ये वीडियो यही चीज को दोहराती है। This is, I would summarize this way, that you have to hope for the best, put in your efforts, get help from others, adapt to the new situations, anticipate newer challenges, team up for the better, ideate and innovate, organize and your resources, and reap the results. This is what this small video gave us. I would not read out all the lessons that we learned, and this was the recap. But before ending, I would like to share what I have been doing for Mahabharat. I have different board games, crossword puzzles, escape challenges, and mystery rooms for Lakshaguru Escape, Chakravyuh, like great quiz of an international standard, which I have traveled abroad and made people play. Pehchan Kaun, Nagar Nirman is a town planning game. Mahabharat in figures, M for Mahabharat, Mahabharat Housey of Bingo, Mahabharat Jigsaw Online. So many things that I do under the banner of all 4E, that my endeavor of explore, excel, entertain, and educate. That's all 4Es I dedicate myself to. And with this, I thank BCAS as well all the participants for letting me share. Thank you so much. I end here.
Yes, thank you, Hiten. Govind ji.
थैंक यू वेरी मच हितेन भाई। हितेन भाई, आपके ज्ञान की गहनता की जितनी प्रशंसा की जाए उतनी कम है। जिस प्रकार सरल शब्दों में आपने महाभारत का ज्ञान जो प्रदान किया है हमारे सहपाठियों को, हमारे मेंबर्स को, अद्भुत है, अद्भुत है, अद्भुत है। इससे शिक्षा पाके मुझे लगता है कि हमारे जो सहपाठी लोग महाभारत गीता वगैरह पे उतना ध्यान नहीं दे पाते जितना अपने एक्ट, रूल्स एंड नोटिफिकेशंस को देते हैं। अब थोड़ा ध्यान इन चीजों की तरफ भी लगाएंगे। और आपने जो अभी लास्ट में जो लिस्ट दी है, वो लिस्ट तो बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है सर, बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है। अब लगता है कि आपके साथ में और बहुत सारे सेशंस हमको करने रहेंगे, जिसमें ये क्विज कंटेस्ट है, ये जो आपने कितनी सारी चीजें आपने तो बना रखी हैं। महाभारत का ज्ञान अगर थोड़ा भी समय हमको मिल जाए आपके साथ बैठने को, तो हम अपने आप को बहुत भाग्यशाली समझेंगे। थैंक यू वेरी मच हितेन भाई। मे आई रिक्वेस्ट ग्रेसी to conclude and propose vote of thanks.
Yes, Govindji, thank you very much. You have already said everything, whatever I wanted to say. And thank you, Hiten, for all the study and sharing the study with us. Thank you, Bilal and Javed. And thank you, KK. And thank you for the whole team of BCS for putting everything together. So with this, let us give virtual applause to Hiten for the wonderful teaching he has given us. Thank you. So see you in the next meeting.
I'm so thankful, and I'm always available at BCS service for anything of my talent that can be exploited and put to better use. Anything for BCS, no problem, anytime and every time. Thank you so much once again, Govindji, Gracie ma'am, and the team BCS. Thank you so much.
हितेन भाई, ये जो
Thank you. Good night.
ये जो महाभारत वगैरह में जितना ये जो ज्ञान अंदर भरा पड़ा है, ये हम लोग जो सुनते हैं, थोड़ा बहुत पढ़ते हैं, वो उसकी गहनता को समझ नहीं पाते। अब आपने जिस ढंग से उसको समझाया है, तो वो चीज समझ में आती है, अरे ये चीज इस तरह से है और इससे हमको ये सीखना चाहिए। ये जो ज्ञान जो गुरु से मिलता है ना, वो गुरु वाला ज्ञान आप हमको जो दे रहे हैं ना, वो बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट है, हैं?
I would like to take this opportunity that Sri Anil Naik was my
yes
for not many things that I shared and learned from him, and he was a great teacher, and we miss him a lot. I mean, at BCS also we miss him, and I really appreciate his efforts that he put me in grooming me and training me, and of course my other background also helped me, but I skipped some slides where I talked about my research colleagues. I think now we are free to continue and free to leave whoever wants to leave, but with Govindji, I would like to share some initiatives that we have been taking. At in last this January only, I wrote in Namaskar column about the Gita 1821 that Advocate Tushar Vyas at MS University Senate and Syndicate. Yeah, he is also my research colleague. Another great friend of mine, Professor Virendra Bhatt of Junagadh Agricultural University, who is a doctorate in not much, I would say, and he is a station director running a radio station, giving 4 hours daily of the radio contents. He is also equally a great learner and student and teacher of Mahabharat, and they are all my research colleagues. We have a nice team that we share our resources, our homework, and a lot much has gone into this presentation or this Mahabharat 1821, we call it. Tushar Vyas Baroda is doing great job with Gita 1821. I have been trying to come up with Mahabharata 1821, as well, Virendra Bhatt from Junagadh is doing Live 360 Scholar and Sakala. Both level, he is doing Live 360 lessons. So we have been doing and bringing our scriptures and mythology, what they call. But I would say our history and our Ramayana, Mahabharata, our Niti Shastra, our scripture, Chanakyas for current scenarios. We have lessons for leadership, for startups, for problem solving, for innovating and whatnot. And these 1821, these 18 sessions are wonderfully designed, and I'm sure we should reach with modern approach, modern jargon, modern management cover to the newer generation, that our epics and our history is not just to be kept in libraries and books,
Yes, yes.
practice daily in our corporate sectors and our daily lives and our practice and our profession also. That's what we, are trying to do in whatever little way we are able to. And I'm sure with blessings of institutions like BCS, we can do a lot much, I'm sure, for the benefit of students and members. Thank you so much, Govindji, for your interest.
Great job, Hiten bhai, you are doing, and I will be sitting with you someday. We'll plan something for our members.
Sure, sure, sir. Right. So nice.
If
Thank you. Good night.
Gracie, if KK is present here,